All right, thanks, guys. Coming off another losing day of sports wagering, but I did throw out my nephew's 2 toys. I threw them right in the garbage because he was dumping grass clippings on his baby brother's head. So it made me feel better throwing out 2 toys in the trash and making him cry. But anyway, made me feel better because yesterday was a terrible day of sports betting. Let's see if we can do better today. Beginning with the NBA Finals, we have Toronto at Golden State, 9 o'clock Eastern tip-off in the Bay Area. Now, this series is all knotted up at 1 game apiece, and Golden State opened the betting as the 5.5-point favorite, total at 214. Now, since those markets opened this one up, we have seen pretty significant line movement on both the spread and the total. We're actually seeing a full 1-point fade of the Warriors at home. We're also seeing movement downward on the total as well. So we're looking at 4.5 and 213. So once again, the Warriors open -5.5 down to -4.5. Total open 214 down to 213. 51% of the consensus is leaning toward the Raptors. 63% shaded toward the over. And right now, Toronto's plus 175 for some money line cash. So if you like Toronto outright, you're in a pretty good spot here to collect. Pretty good odds there. Pretty good juice. May want to parlay that money line with maybe a total or something like that. But regardless of all that, you got to factor this in. Golden State's 36 and 13 straight up at home. They're also 64 and 24 as the favorite. Amazing that they were favored in 78 games this year. Unbelievable. They rank first in scoring, first in offensive field goal percentage. They're shooting 49% from the field. The Warriors are third in defensive field goal percentage as well. Their opponents are shooting just 44% from the field. They're also fourth in home defensive rebounding. Now, a couple more things to add about Golden State. They've won 7 out of their last 8. They're also a perfect 5-0 straight up in their last 5 at home. They are 5-2 against the number in their last 7. Now, Toronto on the other side, they've really struggled with Golden State in the past couple of seasons. They've lost 13 out of their last 14 in Golden State. So if you're into historical trends, historically they have not done well at the Oracle Arena. Once again, just 1-13 in their last 14 at Golden State. Toronto's also failed to cover in 5 out of their last 10 ball games. So really not setting the world on fire when it comes to the spread in these playoffs. Toronto also ranks 22nd in offensive rebounding, and they're covering just 45% of their games, taking on teams over 550 this year. One more thing to add about the Raptors, they're covering just 42% of their games following a day off. Now, when it comes to the total, Toronto is 63% to the over in their games played at the current posted total. They're also 75% to the over, taking on Golden State this year. And speaking of Golden State, when it comes to the scoring, they are 75% to the over in their games at the current posted total themselves. So with all that in mind, I'll purchase the 0.5 point. I'll slide it down, and I'm going to lean Golden State -4 in the over 213 in that matchup there. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines and personal leans out for Wednesday's NBA and Major League Baseball action. It's already hump day. We're halfway there. I actually have an off day Friday. Will not be going into work Friday because that is rehearsal dinner day. And then I tie the knot on Saturday. I'll tell you, what the hell was I thinking? That's what everybody says, you know. I'm just kind of playing up like, hey, you know, it's about time. I'm going to be 34 this year. So, it's about time we settle down and grow up a little bit. Anyway, I don't know. It's just better. It's just better than I'd rather give like 100% of my money to an actual human than 100% of it to the casino, like I've done for the past 18 years. When I was going to Atlantic City when I was 16. Yikes. I learned then, you're always old enough to lose. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into some shout outs brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage. That is my operating website where you can get plenty of daily plays, plenty of memberships and tiers and packages. They start at just $1.99 per month. So check me out on patreon.com/BrockPage. Link is in the description section below. Shout out to Ryan Lantern, who sounds like a kid. I think Ryan is a kid, but I definitely think he's a Raptors fan because in my last video, he called me a fog. F-O-G? A fog? I don't know. I don't know what a fog is, but thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it. Thank you for calling me a fog. Anyway, shout out to Bob. Shout out to Joe Milley, who says, happy wife, happy life. That's wise, Joe. I like that. That's good stuff out of you, Joe. Next shout out, we have King Swisher, Worthy OM 311, Sauce Sensei Master Drip Lord. Shout out to Nick Manley, Mike Gowing, Armando Salcedo, Norwal Music, Jay Williams. Shout out to Jason Peters, who is the offensive tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles, who loves the programming, comments almost every day. He never loses a pick, man. He's a fantastic capper. He's a genius capper, and he's very, very confident when he makes these predictions in the comments section on my wall. So if you guys ever see Jason Peters make a post in the comments section, it's good as gold. This guy doesn't lose. Shout out to Straight to the Point, Vinny Smooth, Milwaukee, Mike Jones, Amanda Brazil, TCGMD 100,000. Shout out to Chris Smith, Sony Camry, which I think Sony Camry, it's like, maybe it's the make of your car and the sound system that's in there. Two very corporate names. Sony Camry. Shout out to Aaron McLemore, JD Beats, Triple Z. Shout out to Jer Bear, who, Jer Bear, is that Adolf Hitler in your profile pic? There's a priest with a Hitler mustache. It's wildly entertaining. I don't want to say, I don't want to offend anybody. It's definitely not funny, but it's kind of entertaining. Very interesting picture. Jer Bear, Hitler, a priest with a Hitler mustache. Very interesting. But anyway, shout out to C-Star LOL. And last but not least, Devarian King, who I don't recognize the name in the comment section. So Devarian King, you're the last but not least today. And thanks for dropping me a line. Look forward to building a great friendship with you, just as I have with all of our commenters. And, you know, if you're in the Atlantic City area, I look forward to meeting up with you sometime. But anyway, let's go ahead and slide into some Major League Baseball action, and that was our shout-outs brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage. I guess I sponsored them because it's all of my content. Anyway, I'm getting text messages already. Good God. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. All right. Let's go ahead and get into some Major League Baseball action, beginning with the White Sox taking on the Nationals, 1:05 Eastern first pitch in the nation's capital. Now, Washington is minus 185, totals 10.5. We saw a 20-cent move toward Washington in the early wagering. We also saw a movement upward on the total. So once again, the Nationals open 165 up to minus 185. Total open 10 up to 10.5. 59% are leaning Washington, 61% shaded toward the over. Right now, the White Sox are plus 175 on the money line. Washington plus 105 on the run line. We have Dylan Covey for the White Sox, Sanchez for the Nationals. Sanchez is just 1-6 with a 4.47 ERA. Washington's also covered just 12 out of 28 at home. And when I refer to covering against the spread, ATS, the number, whenever I'm referring to that, I'm actually referring to the run line. So once again, Washington covering in just 12 out of 28 games at home. They're also 21st in runs allowed. Now, Chicago on the other side, they're actually, I think they're only like one game under 500 right now. So not nearly as bad as last year. They have been cashing some tickets, And they're 6-2 in their last 8. They're also 14-11 straight up, taking on teams under 460. One more thing to add about the White Sox, they are 8th in walks allowed on the road. And when it comes to the total, Chicago is 12